Hello and welcome to Englishin, brought to you by Voices of the World. I'm janerupp. Now, you've probably heard about silent letters in American English, but a lot of times we think about these silent letters being consonant sounds, or not consonant sounds since they're not pronounced, but we think about them as being consonants. But actually, we have a lot of vowel letters that are not pronounced either. The idea of silent letters can be really tricky, especially if your native language has high sound spelling correspondence. This is just a fancy way of saying that in your native language, it's very likely that if you see a letter, you know which sound to produce based on the spelling. In American English, that's not really the case. So for example, if your native language is Spanish and you see the letter A, you can be pretty sure you're going to make the ah sound. In American English, if you see the letter A, lots of different things can happen. We have words like about, cat, walk, that all have different vowel sounds. In fact, if you think about the word animal in American English, you see the letter A twice, but each time it's pronounced completely differently. So the first A we see is pronounced as ah, and the second A that we see is not pronounced at all. Animal, mul, animal. You can see that we go directly from the M into the L. Or to be more specific, since those are the names of the letters, here are the sounds that we're going to produce. We're going to go directly from into ul. So you can see that as soon as my lips start coming out of the way from the M, as soon as we release that M sound, we're immediately making an L with no vowel sound in between. Animal, animal. Now, if we added a vowel sound, it would sound a little bit strange, like animal, animal. So we want to get rid of that vowel entirely and go straight from M into L. Animal. In most syllables in American English, or beats within words in American English, we do see a vowel sound. But in some special cases, we don't need a vowel at all. In some cases, the consonant can stand alone. We call these consonants that can do this syllabic consonants. This just means that the consonant can stand by itself within a syllable without a vowel. So these syllabic consonants, we're going to say the sounds, not the letters, because again, the letters don't really mean that much in American English. It's more important to focus on the sounds whenever possible. So the syllabic consonant sounds that we can make are n, ul, and We already talked about the word animal, where we go directly from the M into the L. Let's take a look at another example, and that is the word rotten. So here we have the syllabic N, or n, rotten. Now you may notice that what I'm doing with my T is quite a bit different than what you might be producing for the T. And in fact, you might listen to mine and think that I'm skipping it. I'm not skipping it. I am doing a consonant sound there, but again, it may be different than what you expect. That's a lesson for another day. For right now, we're going to focus on the N at the end, and I want you to listen and hear that there's no vowel sound going into the N. My voice is actually not going to start up again after the T until I am producing the N. So once my tongue is up on the roof of my mouth and I'm ready to go to produce the N, then I start my voice. Rotten, rotten. I'm going to slow it down so you can see that there's no vowel. Rotten. Rotten. So my tongue is up on the roof of the mouth. I'm not saying rotten, rotten with a vowel. There's no vowel. Rotten. We go straight into the N. Another example is the word bottom. So again, the T might be a little bit different than what you expect. This T actually sounds more like a quick D sound, and we go straight from that quick D into the M. Bottom, bottom. Now, it's possible that for some speakers, some native speakers, you might hear a very small transition movement from the consonant before into the syllabic consonant at the end. But this is not super common. And actually, it's going to be a lot better for you if you pretend like there's no vowel at all, as that is the expectation. So again, delete the vowel entirely, go straight into that syllabic consonant at the end. One last one that we'll talk about is the word author. So again, we go straight from that TH sound into the R. A lot of these OR endings at the ends of words, they're unstressed syllables. We completely delete the vowel. So the vowel goes away. We don't say author or author. We say author. So the tongue is between the teeth for the TH, and then we pop back for the R. Get our tongue tense right away at the very back of the mouth for that sound. Author, author. So we go straight from TH into R. Now, why is it so important to produce syllabic consonants? Well, the most important reason is that native speakers expect to hear it. We don't expect a vowel sound to be there going into that syllabic consonant. So when you do add a vowel there, it throws off the rhythm of the word. So the rhythm is a little bit different than what we expect. This means that that syllable at the end might be a little bit longer. It might be a little bit heavier than what we expect. So again, it throws off that balance in the word. Now, if that's the only change that you make, if you add a tiny little vowel transition or a tiny little vowel going into the syllabic consonant, it's going to sound unnatural, but it's probably not going to make anybody not understand you. But in words like conversation, where we should go straight from the sh into the n, shin, conversation, we see that a lot of students are used to pronouncing a really strong vowel there in their native language. They might have words that look similar where they produce more of an O sound. So then it might sound more like conversation, conversation. You can hear that this is a much bigger difference, and the further we get away from the expected pronunciation, the more difficult it's going to be for somebody to quickly and easily understand that word. But again, if this is the only change you make to the word, if you add a vowel sound there, again, people will probably still understand the word. The bigger problem that we see is that most non-native speakers are not just adding a vowel sound in that syllable. Most non-native speakers who are adding a vowel sound there are also making other changes to the word. So maybe they change the way they pronounce the R sound as well. Maybe they change the vowel at the beginning of the word. Maybe they change another consonant and then they change the word stress. And suddenly the word sounds completely different. So producing syllabic consonants is one piece of the puzzle. It's one thing that you should think about in combination with other things that you learn about American English, like word stress, vowel pronunciation, consonants. So how are you going to know if you should be using a syllabic consonant? Well, it should seem simple because you should be able to just go to a dictionary and look the word up and see whether there is a syllabic consonant. The problem is that the way that most dictionaries write these syllabic consonants, it looks like there's a vowel. So for example, in the word people, you might see a little upside down E right before the L. This is the schwa sound. But actually, it's a little bit complicated to explain why dictionaries do this. That's a problem for another day. But just know that if the dictionary has that little symbol, it doesn't always mean that you pronounce it. I recommend using the Oxford Learner's Dictionary online. This is the best one for seeing if there should be a vowel going into that consonant at the end. So you can see that that little schwa symbol is gone. It shows you only the L in the word people. So we go straight from the P into the L. Now, the Oxford Learner's Dictionary is not my favorite for all things, but it is really helpful for this specific concept of syllabic consonants. Now, if you want to delve a lot deeper into these concepts, if you want to get a lot more practice on all of these different syllabic consonants and learn a lot more about the sounds that surround them, like those different types of T that we saw, we do have a self-study course on Englishin. Please check that out. If you want to practice on your own, one of the best things that I would start with would be TION endings. So every time you see a TION ending, remember we're going to get rid of that vowel. We're going to go straight from the sh into the n. So start with words like conversation, option, evaluation, and try to get rid of that vowel. Again, if you listen to native speakers, you may sometimes hear a tiny, tiny transition movement going from the sh into the n. So you might hear a little tiny vowel sound slip in, very, very tiny, in some of these words. These TION endings, you're a little bit more likely to hear some small variation from speaker to speaker. Most people will delete the vowel. In other cases, though, again, like the word rotten and people, we have no vowel at all, period. So don't do it. And it's best, really, if you want to be accurate in American English, the best thing that you can do as a non-native speaker is, in all of these cases, eliminate the vowel, try to produce no vowel at all. If you try to produce a little tiny vowel, usually what we see is the vowel is a lot stronger, a lot heavier than what a native speaker would do. So we see the best results when people completely eliminate the vowel, even in places where it may be optional for a native speaker, that a native speaker might have a little transition movement. The best thing for you to do as you're learning is to pretend like there's no vowel there, period. Thank you so much for learning about syllabic consonants with me, and happy practicing. If you enjoyed this lesson and you feel like you learned something valuable about American English, please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss a thing. We'll be posting regularly on this channel. We also have extensive content for you on Englishin.com. We have courses for both students and trainers, so we hope that you'll visit us there. Until next time, happy practicing.